There is a whoa, wow.
Is there new stuff?
There's new stuff in Restream. Let me see.
Oh,
Hold on.
I've got.
Hi, everybody. I guess we're live. Hi, everybody.
The beauty's gone live and then just realizing that you got new stuff going on.
I know. Yeah. No. That's. I mean.
But it's just wrong. I've got no idea what you're talking about. So come on. What's new? What's new?
Tell me. Well, hold on. Let me see if I can get this to work here. And if I can get this to work here, you will immediately see what I am talking about. Okay, looking.
Oh, is that going to work? I press that, what happens?
What happens if you press that? I'm dying to know.
Oh, no. So I've been playing around with Stream Deck, and the Stream Deck has got a whole bunch of new button functionality that it didn't have, and so it's got a bunch of things. And so I've actually got a button here that displays the latest video on my podcast with a little icon on it, so I can see what it is, how long it is, and it's on a single button. But I don't know if I press it, if it brings up a new window and just starts playing it, or it overwrites the window that I'm looking at. And so I've got that thing of, if I press the button, will it cut my feed? Or will it not? Will it just start playing? Will it do something else? I haven't tried it, so I don't know.
Ooh. Let's see, page. Man, this is, I'm.
Oh, I know what I haven't done. Bear with me. Oh, there we go. Bit of light. See, that's still not. Yeah. I might need to play with that light to make it yellower, I think.
So so full disclosure, I can't see anything right now.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
I have the thing that I'm trying to see if it'll work happening right now, and it's taking up my entire screen.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, that's fair enough.
So Barry's in charge if there's any chat or anything that needs.
I was going to say, you realize that if this isn't exciting, if this isn't amazing, then
yes. I mean, this could be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be.
Alex said no weird eyeball AI stuff this week, I don't think.
Do you have yours on? Because I tried putting mine on, and it just freaked out on me. I was doing the glitchy thing again.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, my weird eyeball stuff is on. I'd forgotten about that.
Oops, not that one.
Yeah, no, that's a boring one.
That's a boring one. And this one, for some reason, is not working now. Oh, there it is. Oh,
let's not do that.
Oh, really? Is this not?
That doesn't do it for me, has to be said. But the fact that Alex didn't realize that my weird eyeball thing was on, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's working. I know. Yeah, you look like slightly demented. Just saying. No, let's not keep Nick like. Okay, well, if the audience Alex is saying that we've got to say keep you like that.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. Well, I guess we're keeping me like this then.
Just what we need for 2 hours.
Yep, exactly.
Slightly weird, glitchy Nick. I think that's going to be on you.
Just slightly weird, glitchy Nick.
So
I need to
glitch for sure.
See, when I switch back to the regular cam.
Well, that's much better. I like that cam. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, you like that view? Okay.
Yeah, no, that does it for me. That's there.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right. Hey, it's right in your face. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, right. I was doing that thing. So, what's happening here? What did I do? And I don't know where it is now. So that's fun. I clicked out of it, and now it's gone. Basically, what happened was that there was an option to add a store, and so I was hoping that we could showcase some of our merch, like
Oh,
like
okay.
this little fancy doodad that I'm wearing tonight. I've worn this thing so much I'm starting to get holes in it. So some of them are from like the cat's claws, so it's not like a quality issue with the shirt. But I love the shirt. It's very comfortable. If I could just show it off on
Yes.
stream, that'd be great. But anyway, hey, just so that way everyone knows what's going on tonight, we do have a wonderful story, I guess, about user stories.
This is a proper UX story, isn't it? It's a proper.
This
It's down into the depths of HF UX, which is
yeah, this is a UX topic.
Though not to put any spoilers out there, I don't think it's a. I think it's a non-story.
Oh, really? Okay.
If I'm brutally honest, for reasons that well, if you read my only reaction to it, will kind of become obvious. But
okay. All right, I'm checking now. Everyone else will have to wait. This is nice. Yep. That's fair.
Yeah, and we shall go into it, but I think we are. Yeah, we shall see.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
On the plus side, Alex has highlighted that she didn't realize that I had my funny eyes on, and so we think that whole uncanny valley thing has been fixed, or at least my eyes have been fixed.
Yeah, no, mine still exist. Mine's just terrible.
See, where I find it useful, because I think also because my camera's so close, but yet my screen's spread out, then obviously now I'm looking at my screen, not directly down the camera, but this just allows that impression that I'm looking down the camera, which is just useful.
The thing is, Barry, I can tell.
If you know what you're looking, yeah, absolutely. If you know you're looking for it, you can look for it and you can see it easily. But I don't care, quite frankly, because it makes me look more attentive. Attentive, not attractive.
This is like show meeting type stuff, but I was thinking that at some point we might want to reframe how we're positioned on the stream. So like making it look more like a true podcast type thing, where you know how a lot of podcasts that video actually capture their video at 45. So like, I'm talking over here, so it looks like I'm talking at you this way, and then you'd be the opposite direction.
If I did,
obviously.
So if I'm doing that,
right, and then I'd be the other way, but my boom's on this side, right? But something like this, where I'm looking over here, so it looks like I'm looking at you, and maybe that's where I have you up on my screen, right? I just want to see how natural that looks, since I can't actually see it right now. So I'm talking at you. Mm-hmm. How does this look? Like from audience perspective, how does this look? I think this looks pretty okay, actually. I'd have to move my boom or flip my camera.
I was going to say you don't necessarily need to. It looks, I mean, most of them show, like, if you go for that effect, most of them show the boom in there because it's right. Part of the thing, isn't it?
Well, no, I'd want the boom in there.
Yeah. Because mine would have to go something a bit like that, and then if I move my notes over here.
Oh wait.
So let's just reorganize to make. See, this is programming on the fly. I like it.
This is programming on the fly. How does this? I mean, like, just generally. I think I need to look more this way personally. Over here.
This will work as long as now I do have to switch the dodgy eye thing off because right. Let me just switch camera. I'll do that there.
Ratio, yeah. The ratio does look strange. So maybe, Barry, we need to figure out how far away we are from the camera and match those. But then wouldn't it be amazing if we both had like a virtual background type thing going on and we could stitch that background together and make it look like we're in the same room?
Yes. No, that'd be cool. And I can't switch it. Why can't I switch it off the NVIDIA thing? So if I went back a bit, like about there.
Oh yeah. So you're about
I'd have to be about there to make that work.
How's that working for you?
Green screen, of course. If green screened it,
Yeah, we could do green screen. The issue is that when we green screen, if I were to talk with my hands and extend it out into Barry's space, it disappears.
that's true. Yam would fall off.
Yeah, it just
That'd be the whole Luke Skywalker thing.
hey, Star Wars reference out of Barry.
I can do this.
It's amazing.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, but apparently, it seemed to work. So, I wonder if I just switched it off if in NVIDIA itself.
See, and I'm trying to figure out what the right angle is. Is it 45? Is it at a 45 where it just feels more podcasty? I don't know. What does everybody think? Type it in the chat. Staging is not something I'm great at. I mean, is this better or is this better? This is more what you're used to.
So, camera, if I remove that effect, right, that's kind of that. Because actually, if we look at the backgrounds and actually take out.
Whoa. Yo, okay, hold on. There's another update to this software, by the way, while we're talking about it. Now, anyone who calls in doesn't have to show their face. And we can have them be here and listen to them, but they don't have to show their face, which reduces that barrier. By the way, that barrier, if you are a Patreon member and want to dial in, we do have the link to that in our Discord. You can join us live here in the pre-show or the post-show, whichever one you'd like to attend. We'd love to have you. Barry is like fading into a wall back here. And
if you were to go and switch on your weird background and put on the same wall, then we might look like we're in the same room.
We might, except for whatever reason, my virtual background isn't working. Is my system not understanding that I have a GPU or something? I don't know.
Okay. Are you actually pushing it out through the GPU?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll switch that off then.
Yeah. I'm just, well, I don't want to mess with it right now while we're on.
Oh, see, where's your sense of adventure? I mean, what could possibly? Oh, yeah, with your record of weird
Let's
stuff.
not do that.
Oh, look, hey, that's where I want to live. Look at that. Look at my swimming pool.
Look at you.
No, right?
I did not realize it is still daytime out over there.
It's really not.
I know.
Oh.
So here's so again, the story of tonight, user stories. The story is user stories. Like I said, call in if you'd like. We'll have you. But 2 weeks ago, we had one of our lab members on, right? Alex in the chat. Last week, we had a Patreon on, actually, who became a Patreon shortly after coming in and crashing our stream. This week, what if I told you I got the combo? Both a lab member and a Patreon member.
That's cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? Although they were unavailable for the live show, but they did send something in, so I'm gonna play that now, and then we can answer it. Okay, I'm gonna play this. We'll be right back.
Hi, Nick and Barry. Okay, disclaimer. I have little experience when it comes to UX practice and jargon in the industry. So, take my opinion with a grain of salt. First, I think the term task-oriented can be misleading over here. In the article, for example, the activity-centered design coined by Don Norman in 2005, for me, that's somehow about task-oriented, but then it has very different meaning with the task-oriented defined here. Also, this is kind of stepping up from the article on the syntax of defining user's goal, but when I read, as a user, I want to optimize my browsing experience without having to customize my toolbar, it reminds me of an argument about human-centered design. If user wants to optimize experience without having to customize the toolbar, do we have the required tool, task, or the technology? Does enabling this feature means adding more complexity and cost to the system that could be detrimental? Do system and software engineers just need to suck it up? Also, instead of just designing for your everyday mobile application, how valid is this way of thinking in designing an interface design for an example? an aeroplane control system. This also reminds me of human factors professionals' opinion, such as Norman with his activity-centered design that he wrote in 2005, and Flock and Dominguez, sorry if I butchered up their name, on use-centered design that was written in 1995. Oh, I'd like to hear your opinion. Thanks.
All right, Barry, what do you think?
I think she's right.
Yeah, that was a
No, I think it's that whole it's a whole piece of, isn't it, around falling into that thing of describing what the task should be within the application rather than becoming it being a human-centered design. It's looking at what the actual task itself should be. It helps if I switch off all of my notifications before starting. And anything I like wasn't professional and stuff.
It's almost like you do this every week and should be aware.
I know.
Anyway.
It's should really be better at it. But yeah, no, I completely agree in terms of it's the way that we are talking about some of this stuff with this art. And I think this is probably going to be what I say quite a lot about this article in the show itself. I do love the phraseology of systems and software engineers. Yes, they do need to just suck it up.
They do need to suck it up. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we're best at telling them to do.
What do you think, Nick?
So there were many questions and comments in that video, the voicemail, and so let's break them down a little bit here, and not to put the cart before the horse, because we will talk about our full thoughts in the actual show here. But I want to reward everyone that's here early talking about it. So there's a few things here, right? The first thing is the task-oriented, and the term task-oriented. And this is in relation to the article itself. The article describes task-oriented user stories, and how they don't differentiate between the costs and benefits that users are willing to pay for those benefits. And Vianney's point here was that it's misleading because there are other ways of defining that in a way that, I don't know. When you look at user stories, as a user, I want to X so that I can Y, right? You are talking about X is the task. And is it really a task? Because sometimes they can be interchangeable as goals.
Yeah. I guess there's an element there of, and yeah, again, when I'm trying not to go too much into what I want to, quite frankly, rant about. I
know it's so hard to put the cart before the horse.
It's on one hand, you could argue it's an evolution, of how methodologies evolve. They do that. That's and as different people use them for their own benefit. My thing here is that basically, and this is why I liked her comment around how they should just suck it up, because they've largely taken our methodology, customized it for themselves, and is now trying to elbow us out of it. If I'm going, going to be brutal about it.
Be brutal.
They're trying to take our methodologies and you almost use them against us in a way, by making them back to a system design construct that is good for software and systems engineers, not for human-oriented design. Oh, let's get that warmed up. But
yeah, no, I agree. I think looking at the rest of the comment, right, there was when Vianney reads, as a user, I want to optimize my browsing experience without having to customize my toolbar. It reminds them of an argument about human-centered design. If a user wants to optimize experience without having to customize the toolbar, do we have the required tool and the task? So it's more looking at the capability aspect of it rather than, and does adding that capability add more complexity and cost to the system that could be detrimental? Are we thinking about the adverse effects of potentially adding that feature? right? We talk about the cost of not having something, but do we ever talk about the cost of implementing a feature, right? If you have like, I don't know, just think about something basic, right? Like you have social media and you have a post and you want to add the share button. Have we thought about what that does in terms of, well, yeah, it empowers the user to share their opinions. Have we thought about the negative cost?
Well, yeah. And it's the some of this is like its unintended consequence. It's its impacts outside of just financial, but actually they all end up linking back around to financial anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, one way or another.
And then
go on.
I was just going to say, and then this applies to, this is UX, but what about other domains? What about, Vianney brings up aerospace systems, controls in an airplane. Have we thought about the opportunity cost and the cost of implementation from a user perspective when you introduce things that are potentially more mentally taxing, but also offer that level of control? And yes, that is human factors, right? Like just checking.
Yeah, I mean, it's the. I sort of started having this discussion, interesting debate with discourse, which is not what I was going to do. Anyway, that's a different story. I was discoursing with a couple of UX designers the other day, highlighting the fact that we so push everything down almost the mobile app route. Everything UXy is kind of is made for a it's either for a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop, desktop. We don't tend to talk about UX in the same way for aerospace, for things like that. Whereas in fact, there is absolutely no reason at all why them methodologies shouldn't be used and adapted for doing that. But I think it goes back to what my argument is around the difference between UX and HF. One being based on strong methodology, strong safety aspect, and that stuff, whereas UX focuses probably more from a desirability perspective. We don't think about making aerospace systems or military systems desirable for the user to use.
They have to. They're forced to.
Well, no, they're forced to be efficient. They're forced to be usable but not sexy. Whereas mobile phone apps, their first priority is largely to be sexy and desirable, and then we'll fix the problems later. Generalizing wildly.
Yeah, that is a pretty wild generalization, but not an unfair one. Not an unfair one.
See, the only downside about digging into some of this stuff early is I realize I haven't done half my notes. I haven't done my homework.
Oh, Barry, what are you doing, man?
Well, I'm just trying to catch up. See, I noticed lots of people dived into the notes. If you could just do all my work for me, that'd be brilliant. I did my usual thing about asking, because normally I get
ask the family.
Yeah, ask the family sort of thing. So, but rather than talk about the main story, because I knew what I wanted to say around the main story, I went with the one. I went with the it came froms this week. So I'm going to be giving some of the responses not only from myself but from the dinner table. So
that's amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah.
I'm now going to remember what they actually said. This is going to go well, isn't it?
One of those days, huh? It's
been one of those 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. But roll on tomorrow because I've got a morning of work and an afternoon of award ceremony, which
That's
I'm
right. That's right.
So that should be fun.
Man, I really wish I had green screen tonight for my one more thing.
Oh yes, that would be amazing.
You could. Jeez.
I still can't. Well, I don't have green screen as such.
Maybe I should try it. Should I try it one more time? I should just try it here and see if we're gonna do that. Actually, I think preview this before this gets all jankety jank. Let's see here. Hold on. All right, hold on. One moment, please. One moment. Let's try this.
Alex just said, have you got a green T-shirt just kicking about?
Oh, that'd be a wonderful idea, wouldn't it be? Hey, I think I fixed the spazzing issue.
What have you done? Just.
What's that?
so
what have I done?
So you got your blur on. That's cool.
Yeah. Let's see here. Change the application. What? Can I not? Hold on. Broadcast. AD cast. Why can I not? Hold on. One moment.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, look at that. See? Oh, wow. I'm a disembodied voice now, Barry. Isn't that cool? See, that's what I was telling you, is now we can have people on who don't have their cameras on, and they can still be here.
Oh, but without having just the...
without the little name tag. Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing.
So what is that, like God mode?
Yeah, something like that.
It just talks out of the sky.
Yeah. Let's see here. I got to change. Hold on. Sorry, I'm figuring some stuff out. Everybody, just hold with me because I promise this will be worth it for.
As soon as you say it's going to be worth it, then
I really
level of judgment.
I do believe though that I am not like just speaking out of turn here. I genuinely believe that this is the case, that it will be worth it if I okay. All right. Well, yeah, there we go. Background. And background blur. Oh no, can I not do both? Okay. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn on this camera again. And then I'm gonna actually select the right camera, so that way I'm back. But let's see here. Where's the correct camera that I'm? There we go. That's it. Hi, I'm back.
Cool. Oh, we missed you.
Oh, hey, thanks. I missed you too. Okay. Now here's where the real fun begins. Okay, because I'm gonna give away a little bit of the cart. I'm gonna give a little bit of the cart away because tonight my one more thing is AI photo shoots, and so of course you get fun stuff like this.
Yay! Look at those pretty eyes.
Oh man. I feel like I need to change up the image. Hold on. There's one really great one that just like makes me chuckle every time. This one. Okay. So you're kind of looking at the eyes, the glasses. Fine. Okay. But for me, it's the teeth. Can I just show you the teeth?
Go on then.
They're going to be right here.
Teeth?
Man, look at the teeth on that guy.
They're impressive teeth. I like them.
It would be hilarious if I had the like green screen put them on my t-shirt. I'm wondering what else I could throw back there. Because I mean I could do like our thumbnail, right? That'd be fun. I am actually quite pleased with one of them. One of those AI headshots. It's this one. I've actually changed it. Look at the smolder on that guy. I've changed all my profile pictures to this.
I'm trying to work out whether it's actually got you looking in two different directions.
It does, but I don't care.
No, that's fine.
It's mostly good.
It's almost to compliment you wildly. It's very Kit Harington of Game of Thrones.
Oh
So,
yeah, I can see
Jon,
that. Yeah,
Jon Snowish.
yeah. What else? What else do you want to see up there? You want to see? Let's see. Can't. Ooh. Oh. Now there's an interesting. Can I? Will it?
Yes, it will. Okay.
It will.
Whoa. Is that bringing up a previous show?
It is. I can do video back here.
How did you do that?
Well, that's for me to know. And
Well,
yeah. Look at that.
what can I do?
We're
See,
just,
if we're playing this game.
yeah. Oh.
Promo.
Look at that. Yeah. Wow. It's like we just figured out how green screen works.
Yeah, this is just for the rest of the night. Don't worry about the show. We just got to be.
We're just
changing this stuff. Oh, because actually that's a better one for this. It might will it come out better?
You know what?
That's actually.
Oh shoot! No, that's not the right one.
No,
Otherwise, I'd show that. Okay.
I'm just about to spam the whole of this with lots of different stuff.
I know we could.
Where's my artwork folder? Because this is where the fun begins.
I'm wondering, like, what I could.
I'm on Orion.
Oh, are you? You're on Orion. Look at that. Well, I've got something else here. How about this one?
Oh, that's cool.
It's the new spacesuit.
You know what? You know what's happened? NASA basically turned around and said, "Did you see what SpaceX did? We need to do something sexy." Mm-hmm. And they just, I haven't seen anybody in it, so I don't know what it looks like from a proper perspective. But yeah, I need to look more at it because I'm not convinced they've hit the brief.
All right. Hey, you know what I just realized? We're like 2 minutes over.
Oh, we've got a show to do.
We got to do it. Barry, quit distracting me with all this cool technology. You know what would be? Sorry, just one more thing. What would be really cool is if I could. Yeah. I know. Yeah. What would be really cool is if I could like project the notes behind me.
That would be.
Anyway, we'll be right back. I'm going to start the show. Proper.
Welcome to Human Factors Cast, your weekly podcast for human factors, psychology, and design.
Oh, it's springtime for Human Factors Cast in worldwide. It's episode 277. We're recording this live on March 23rd, 2023. Like I said, this is Human Factors Cast. I'm your host, Nick Roome. I'm joined today by Mr. Barry Kirby.
Hello, good to see you.
Well, welcome to our show tonight, everybody. We got some exciting topics to discuss, including the story tonight, which is on user stories and what they're good for, potentially how to improve upon them. We'll also be answering some questions from our community on topics like struggling to find UX research opportunities for beginners, quitting jobs, and the intersection of UX research and AI. So sit back, relax, let's get started. But before we do, we have an exciting announcement coming next week, and I'm really excited about it. Like, I'm so excited about it. This has been like, I'm not exaggerating when I say years in the making, but like recently just picked up traction. And it is very cool. It may or may not be another podcast announcement. It may or may not be with personalities you're familiar with. You may or may not want to tune in to the Human Factors and Ergonomics Society International Symposium on Human Factors and Ergonomics in Healthcare next week. that we might have an announcement for you there. So that's a little tease. I guess I can't get more specific than that right now, but Barry can. Barry can get more specific with what happened at 12:02 this week.
So in 12:02 we had our episode with Jenny Radcliffe go live. So Jenny Radcliffe, the people hacker, the ethical burglar, gave us basically her insights into social engineering and pen testing or penetration testing. And really the big thing that she's doing is, normally when we talk about these sort of things, we believe that we're looking at sort of cyber and hacking and things like that. Whereas what she's doing is, as she describes it, hacking the people, not hacking the technology, and working out how to penetrate security systems. So she was really generous with her time and her thoughts. So that is now up there and well worth a listen.
You may know Jenny as the other Human Factors podcast. If you look up Human Factors podcast, you get Human Factors Security. So she's right there. Barry, I know you've been looking forward to this one for a long time, so I'm glad you finally got to do it.
Yes, it's been the longest bit of it was actually just plucking up the courage to message her and said, "Please come and talk on my podcast. You inspired me to do my podcast. Can you come and talk on my?" And she was very kind about it.
Well, I'm glad she was kind about it. Looking forward to listening to that. I still haven't listened to that one. Sorry.
That's disappointing.
I know. But hopefully the episode isn't. Anyway, we got a story that we need to get to, so let's get to it. This is the part of the show all about Human Factors news. Barry, what is the story this week?
So the story this week is, as a user, I don't want to. So user stories that were invented in around 1997, and they've become a ubiquitous tool for software teams attempting to focus on the value of their products. However, in many cases, task-oriented user stories have replaced the original formats, masking the lack of benefits by falsely justifying product features. So an example of this is, as a user, I want to reach a goal so that I can obtain a benefit. That is the traditional user story. But it's now morphed to, as a user, I want to do a task so I can use the tool. So task-oriented user stories do not differentiate between cost and benefit and don't show why users are willing to pay for these benefits. Fortunately, this can easily be remedied by inverting the stories. By recognizing that task is a cost and searching for a way for us to remove that cost, we can move the focus back to the benefit for the users, so we can optimize the product experience. Inverting the user story highlights that the feature ID is a hypothesis, invoking the question of whether users actually want to optimize their experience instead of assuming that they do. By identifying pain points through existing costs, software teams can innovate and differentiate their products from competitors more successfully. The original user story format is beneficial because it outlines the benefits that users may be willing to pay for, whilst task-oriented user stories reduce the focus on these benefits by replacing them with tasks and features that users will not necessarily find valuable. So, Nick, are you a forward-thinking kind of guy, or do you need to have do you need to invert your user story to get meaning out of life?
Look, so in some ways, this talk about unprofessional. I have my phone ringing off over here. This makes sense in some ways. I love this from a UX perspective. Putting the human's goals first is always a good thing, and that's how we treat human factors. And this is why it's so critical that we play a part in the requirements process. I think if you look at the goals of humans and put those first, goals can be ambiguous, which means there's sort of this need to deconstruct goals into hierarchies of goals and what goals that you're trying to achieve to make that overall goal happen. I love that process. But the article doesn't necessarily address the downsides of this, or the risks associated with using these inverted user stories. And I think just user stories in general, we talked about this a little bit in the pre-show about associating cost of implementing the technology, but don't necessarily always consider the negative cost of implementing that technology. When you implement something, does it then become more cumbersome to use for some types of users, or does this have adverse interaction effects for some reason or another? the bad news with all this is that changing culture is hard, especially in software development. So unless it's adopted by certification courses, agile communities, it's not going to happen. That's how I feel about this in a nutshell. Barry, you got a very simple reaction, but I feel like it's going to be a rant. So what do you think of this?
Oh my! So this is just really excuse making for adapting bad methodology. So the methodology when it was first instigated was, for me, was right. It was about turning around and saying, right, what is it I'm trying to achieve? What is it that my user, what is the benefit that they want to get? Okay. So then what's happened, and this is where we sort of assume that the UX is agile and UX is Scrum, because it's not. They're just things that really work well with each other. The agile and Scrum teams, because they're actually probably more dominated by software and systems type of folks, they've gone, I see what you're trying to do there, and doing that whole user wanting to reach a goal and obtain a benefit. So the benefit is being able to use the tool. Clearly, it is, isn't it? And to reach the goal, that's just a task, because reaching the goal is a task, and therefore the user wants to do a task. So you can sort of see how that has happened. But what it's meant is that this methodology has then been subsumed into an engineering paradigm rather than a human factors paradigm. So what we really should be doing is now pushing back really hard and saying, get your hands off our methodology, or if you're going to do it, use it properly. Because what we've done here now is turn around and said, okay, we see what you're doing there. We've seen that you've done the whole task thing and the tool thing. So if we invert that, so we have to do yet another process to get it back to pretty much to what we had or what we wanted in the first place, sort of. But even then, it's not quite right. And that means we're still going to have to do a load more work to work out what it is that the user wants to achieve and what the overall benefit they want to get. So I get why we're here. I get tools evolve, methodologies evolve, that's fine. But here we are now trying to develop more methodology in order to fix methodology that's gone wrong. And really, we should be stronger within our field to show a bit of leadership and say, hands off. That's me done. And I'm just going to leave now. If I had a mic, I'd drop it. I do have a mic. I can't drop it because it's on a boom arm.
Okay, yeah. So this is
Sorry, Ray.
a like
I feel better now.
okay, good. I'm glad you feel better. I'm glad you got that out of your system. This is a UXy topic.
It is. It's a good meaty topic actually, because what is really neat about it is it does show, because things do evolve. You know, life evolves, methodologies evolve, and if this is sort of put more of a positive spin on this now, if things have evolved so people are thinking about the user first, even if it's in the wrong way, there is advantage in being able to say, well, at least you're sort of halfway there, and this is maybe us meeting them halfway. So that's me slightly less ranty about it, but.
Well, yeah. So I think let's just take a step back. For anyone unfamiliar with the concept of what a user story is, they're common in software development. You see this in Scrum and Agile all the time, and the entire purpose of these things is to keep development teams moving and focused on basically providing additional features and functionality, that capability to customers. Um, when you look at user stories, they've become ubiquitous in software development. Like this is everywhere you go in software development, you see user stories. You're going to be hard pressed to not find a place that doesn't follow user stories in some way, shape, or form. The original user story format looks at sort of the benefits that a user might be willing to pay for when it comes to implementing this technology, and that's kind of what we're talking about when it comes to putting the user first. And with respect to this article, is it something that they're wanting because they're willing to pay for it, or is it something that they're wanting because they need it and its capability that they want? So we're looking fundamentally at two different types of user stories here in this article. At least there's the task oriented user stories, um, and those focus on the tasks that a user must do to get to their goals, which can sometimes lead to bad product decisions. And here's an example of how. So if you have a goal that is an outcome of a task, it's not directly, you're not getting directly at the goal. you're saying hopefully that goal will be accomplished by that task. You're not saying this is the goal that we're trying to solve, coming back, to the task. Though that's the inversion, is if you put the goal, if you put that bigger thought about how this value might be, how users might be attracted to this value proposition, it's going to ultimately focus on that benefit to users and what their goals are. And so I think that is what we're looking at here. That's an overview. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I think it is just that whole focus on, rather than saying, so we're focusing on the tool or the function rather than the outcome.
Exactly.
And then because we have to flip this around. So there's it works. I mean, you can't argue with it. The article, when you read it, and I recommend that people go and read the entire article, not just the bit I read out, but it's a well constructed argument. It's where it highlights why you make task oriented user stories, they can lead to bad product decisions, and it makes sense. It's the example I think is in there around the user wants to log on via the logon screen in order to be able to use the tool. And it's like, well,
I don't want to have to log on.
Nobody wants to log on. No, you just want to go and be able to use the tool. And even when we talked about this at the Dinte pre-show, I sort of put out this example, and my wife immediately was going, "I don't want to use the logon screen." And it's like, wanting to use a secure password. Nobody wants to use a secure password because most people forget them. But it's a necessary evil in order to do it. Therefore, we sort of get ourselves into this thing of right. We have a logon screen. So if we invert that, then it's saying, right, in order to use the tool, I have to have a logon screen. So the user needs to interact with this logon screen. So then you sort of say, well, okay, there's clearly a benefit of doing that, because without it, they can't get into the tool. But equally, you could say, in order to use a certain function, you need to have another screen in there, or to use a capability, you need to have another screen in there that might be really intrusive. Say, well, actually, that's not that amount of effort isn't worth doing it for that outcome.
Right. I mean, you can say like a user would want to be secure when they're operating a piece of software, right? They don't want. I don't want anybody to access my account without me knowing. Therefore, we need security policies in place. I think for me, the thing that is interesting about this application of user stories, when you say things like, as a user, I want to, especially when it comes to things like a logon screen. And that's a very simplistic example, but those types of examples are everywhere throughout a software, no matter what thing you're working on. And what happens from a cultural standpoint internal to your organization is that you start to get others outside of the role of UX, product managers, developers, various other roles that recite those as if that is based on user research. It's not. Those are user stories written. And I think this is why I was saying that this is important that we get involved at the requirements process, because we need to define those requirements in a way that is going to result in user stories that are actually equivalent to what users want.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because when you write them based on what they want, then how do you address those situations where it's like, yeah, we need a secure password? Well, that becomes difficult. So that's the whole premise of this article, is that we rephrase how we talk about these things, and therefore we're thinking about the problem in a different way, where it's down to user needs instead of system requirements.
Yeah. Yeah, it's effectively taking something that then exists and getting value out of it from a user-centered perspective. I mean, it's an interesting perspective. Do you think it applies to, we can use this inversion on every situation, every product? Because I'm not necessarily convinced that we can.
No.
So it's clearly there's got to be a bit of skill there, hasn't there? There's got to be a bit of judgment with the UX professional to sort of say, well, actually, I can see we can get value out of this by inverting it, but sometimes it might just not be possible or beneficial to do so.
No, it's not a one size fits all application. I'll give you a great example of this. Okay. So you have a video game developer with the user goal of, I want to have a good time when I play this game. That is the ultimate goal of playing a
Yep.
game. You want to play a game to have fun and to relax, And so this is where I'm talking about goal hierarchies. You deconstruct that and say, well, my goal is to encounter challenges and overcome those challenges. Well, how do you design for that? How, you bring it down even more. Well, I want to experience a little bit of friction, but how much friction?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where it becomes nebulous. I mean, it's nebulous all the way down, but when you start deconstructing those goals and get to that level of, there's just not going to be a level that is a one size fits all for, here's the friction that we're introducing. It's at this level, because it's going to largely depend on other settings, accessibility. It's going to depend on, difficulty within the game that you have set. So there's other parameters that impact that, and that is largely incumbent upon the user to opt in to those selections for them to have the most amount of fun. Some people who have children and don't have the time to invest in video games want to play on easy, and they should not be shamed for that. And they just want to experience the story, right?
I play easy.
Yeah. I've started playing easy because I don't want to waste my time fighting the same things over and over and over again. And unless there's some external motivation, and now we can actually talk about it, right? So do I want to be motivated? Is it going to establish more fun for me? I don't know. And user stories in this context, I know user stories are used in video game software development, but is it going to work? I don't know.
And some of this, I think, is influenced by fashion, if I'm honest. So we know that user stories is, we've already said that UX and Scrum and Agile, they're all very fashionable at the moment.
Mhm.
And everybody, I'm now meeting more and more people who've read a book, or they've read a blog post, or they watched a quick YouTube guide on Scrum 101 or UX 101 and things like this. And so automatically, because the beauty of a good user story is it's simple. It looks simple, and you think, oh, anybody could. But most user stories are so well crafted that they take time and they take effort and they take multiple iterations to get right and to be that simple and to be that good. And I've seen so many versions of this now where people said, "Oh, I've done a lot of user stories. Look at my user stories," and they pull out a big list, and you're sitting there going, so what methodology have you used to get there and do it? And they're like, well, I wrote a bunch of user stories down. Therefore, and I was like, well, okay. So how do you know they're complete? How do you know they're exhaustive? How do you know you've got the range? How do you know you and all that? And they just can't answer it. Which is where so and this is maybe to give some credit where credit's due. This inverted view is a way of recovering bad user stories. That's possibly where the benefit is for us to almost re-grasp the initiative. Saying, right, okay, you've done this work. That thank you very much for that. We'll take that away, and instead of ripping it up like I would and stamp on it and maybe spit on it a bit, is to then take that and invert it to then get back to a decent value-based system.
So I've asked ChatGPT to come up with some examples, and you can right away see the variation in those levels of detail and which ones are, I don't know, beautiful, like you were like you were describing. So let me just start with a high level one. Okay.
Mhm.
Overall, I want a travel booking website that is intuitive, user friendly, and efficient so that I can easily plan and book my travel without any hassle or stress. That is high level. That's not specific. Okay. But it is getting at a user goal. Almost, right? And then you have these like weirdly specific one, not weirdly. These are common for what you'd find in software development. Um, as a user, I'd like to be able to enter my travel dates and destination into a search field on a travel booking website and then see a list of available flights with prices and schedules. I would like to be able to filter and sort the results by price, departure time, and airline so that I can quickly find the best option for my needs. You see what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then, I
It's
mean, even this is where Chat GPT is potentially falling over as well, because you go back to that first one, which was relatively high level, and actually, and it may just be me, I would be going that one step back from that, because I don't, just because I'm going on holiday, I don't necessarily want to use a website to do it. I want to be able to book a holiday. Um, Now it happens to be that then your next level down is, okay, well, I've got websites, or I could do it by phone, but who does that by phone anymore? Who actually goes and visits a real travel agent? So we are making an assumption there to make it run forward. Or it could be there is a context there that I'm a website designer, but yeah, it is, and this is why it is, as I think it's as much of an art as it is a science, to be able to craft some of this stuff, because I think, having spent most of my time in sort of like in defense and safety critical type stuff, we tend to not steer clear of user stories, because I find them a very valuable tool. But you still then go and then drill down into, okay, I've got these stories. How do they make requirements? Which is not what you would do. Which is not really what they're made for. They're made for to be that whole bit where you don't actually need requirements. After that, the team then comes together and fulfills the user goal. But I do, even using this sort of approach in requirements definition, requirements articulation, they still are not something that are easy to do. It does take a certain level of skill and panache to be able to pull off some good requirements.
Yeah, I mean, a good user story is focused on the user, and that's good. Like that, this is a net good thing that we are thinking about the user in software development. Like that is a net good thing, right? It focuses on the user and their needs, not goals. Um, it's also specific, so it talks about a specific thing that they're working on. These are hallmarks of good user stories. You also have a measurable component to it, making sure that you know when this condition is met, right? And so this could take the form of, as a user, I want to X so that I can Y. I will know this is complete when Z, and you have completion criteria, right? Um, Having them be concise is also good, and then also independent from each other to where you're not going to get overlap between them. They're specific enough to not have like this overlap between them, and I think that is uh is good, and it shouldn't be dependent on other stories to work. That's
So just to, because we're putting news stories basically on trial here to a certain extent,
okay. Yeah, let's do it.
with both ways that we're looking at it. I guess at the moment, I go back to what I said earlier about them being fashionable and all that sort of stuff. Um, do we think that actually user stories are the be all and end all? What have they got weaknesses? Because we've used the log on screen. You talked about security earlier. Nobody is going to sit there and say, oh, well, I want I want a password protected system. Well, actually, because you don't, because that's never going to be a user story, because you never want it. But what happens if there's if we is there such a thing as prioritizing user preference over things like, your ethical considerations like privacy, security, social responsibility? Are they too focused, too short termist? Discuss.
Discuss. Uh, I don't think they're the end all be all. Um, do I think that this inverted user story is the end all be all? No. I think ultimately ultimately having UX in charge and making all the shots is the end all be all when it comes to when we come to some of this. But ultimately, what we're looking at here is they're useful for capturing those user needs and requirements, but there's a lot of drawbacks to them, which make them not good for the end all be all state, right? In a lot of cases, these things lack context, so they can provide some high level detail, some high level view of what's going on. They don't provide those details, especially around what a user wants to accomplish. So they might not provide that full context that you might get from things like user research. And it really does, like I was highlighting earlier, create that disconnect from what a user truly does want and what everybody on the team thinks they want, because they're writing it in that format. And so that can impact user experience in a lot of ways, right? You also have sort of the scope of some of these. They're typically, like I mentioned, very focused on something, right? Like that example that I gave to you, which was, I want to enter my travel dates into destination search field on a travel booking website, see a list of available flights, right? That is very specific.
Mhm.
And that specificity limits basically how how you approach a problem, just because you're writing it in that way, right? You also have you also have this underlying bias towards the requirements, because you're writing them towards the requirements. You're not writing them from the perspective of the user. You're writing them in that phrase as a user, I want to, but they are biased. They are towards those requirements and not necessarily biased towards the user, which is not right. There's other issues, but that's kind of where I I mean the biggest fundamental, like, I guess, drawback is that the users aren't actually writing this. The users aren't included in this process, and it's just leading to these assumptions from the development team and other pieces of the product team that ultimately can be bad or detrimental to to end users. I don't know, Barry.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think this is the end all be all?
No, it's not, because I'm not, I guess it's coming from the experiences that I've had. There are some things that need to exist within a system or whatever it is you're developing, just because you've basically got a wider, you've got wider pressures doing different things. So from a defense perspective, you're always going to have that security imperative in what we're doing. That might not, the having to have a certain layers of security are always going to get in the way and hinder the user, and the user never wants to be hindered in what they're doing. So sometimes there's almost like the third party in the room, that or a third user that is saying, well, actually, I've got some overarching stuff to deal with. But that's the way you adapt what you're doing. But I think my problem with, so it's not a problem with user stories. That user stories are hugely valuable for being able to articulate what it is that you're trying to do. My problem with user stories is then they tend to be non-exhaustive. How do we know that we've captured all of the user stories that that fulfill it? You could argue that this is why they work with Scrum sort of methodologies, agile methodologies, is because you're never looking for a complete solution. You're generally looking for an MVP, a minimum viable product, and then you will iterate off that. And that's why it works for them, because you turn around and say, right, what are the key things I'm trying to achieve? Right, I'm going to take this user stories 1 to 5. We've identified as being my best ones. We'll get the product to do that. Great. Yes, that's gone out. That's been reviewed. Right. We're now going to add in 6, 7, and 8. We're not going to do 9 because they're not interested. We're going to go and do 10. That doesn't work for every type of system. If you have a system that needs to be 100% system, it needs to work from the off. It can't afford not to have some of these functions in. That's where user stories sometimes don't lend themselves very well, because you're not evolving the product, you're not developing the product. You have to get it right first time. Or in theory, you have to get it right first time. I don't think I've ever met one that's actually got it right first time. But that's a theory.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I honestly, I don't know how much else I have to say about this, Barry. Just the way that we capture information and user needs and goals is broken, and there's better ways to do it. It depends on a lot of different factors, and humans are not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, for us as UX HF professionals, try and go back to doing it right from the beginning. Get it right first time. Look at the user benefits rather than do that. But I've got some sympathy, having ranted against it, about this. This could feel like it's it's not ideal, but I'm trying to rescue the situation. It's a tool. Inverting these task-oriented tools, I could be saving the situation, but you're not, because it goes back to what you've just said, that what you're doing is you're inverting something that hasn't come from the user. It's come from the engineering team who want to develop a certain type of system. So it's got that bias, and the user hasn't been anywhere near it. Therefore, it feels like you're trying to save something, and it feels like you might have saved it, but you haven't really. You've given everybody a bit of a get out clause, and it's not quite. I don't think it hits the spot personally.
For me, some of the final thoughts I have on this is the correct way to word user stories as they exist today. As a product owner, I want the user to
Yeah.
right. So like ultimately that's what's going on is you have these development teams and product owners who are guiding the product, and that's what their role is, but that is how they should be written to convey the truth. Because then but no one wants to say that they are the ones that are anyway. What I'm trying to get at here is that's how you fix it to be more accurate. To get it to be more useful is a different conversation. And I see the inversion as one potential stepping stone to get to that ultimate point of nirvana, where the user is like front and center, always coming first, never driven by external factors going on, right? It's all about the user and not money, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Barry, any other final thoughts on this one?
Do you know how I solve all of this? By making sure that your Scrum lead, the lead, is a human factors professional. And generally, if your Scrum Master is an HF person, they will generally make this work properly. I just find that HF people make the best Scrum Masters.
I'm biased in that, but I would say that's right. So, all right. Well, thank you to our friends over at the UX Collective, and thank you to our patrons and everyone else for voting on our news story this week. If you want to follow along, we do post links to the original articles on our weekly roundups in our blog. You can also join us in Discord for more discussion on these stories and much more. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to see what's going on in the human factors community right after this. Are you tired of boring lectures and textbooks on human factors and UX? Well, grab your headphones and get ready for a wild ride with the Human Factors Minute podcast. Each minute is like a mini crash course packed with valuable insights and information on various organizations, conferences, usability methods, theories, models, certifications, tools, and much more. We'll take you on a journey through the fascinating world of human factors, from the ancient history to the latest trends and developments. Listen in as we explore the field and discover new ways to enhance the user experience. From the Think Aloud protocol to the critical incident technique, focus groups, iterative design, we'll make sure that you're the smartest person in the room. Tune in on the 10th, the 20th, and the last day of every month for a new and interesting tidbit related to human factors. Don't miss out on the Human Factors Minute podcast, your ultimate source for all things human factors.
Human Factors Cast brings you the best in human factors news, interviews, conference coverage, and overall fun conversations into each and every episode we produce. But we can't do it without you. The Human Factors Cast network is 100% listener supported. All the funds that go into running the show come from our listeners. Our patrons are our priority, and we want to ensure we're giving back to you for supporting us. Pledges start at just $1 per month and include rewards like access to our weekly Q&As with the hosts, personalized professional reviews, and Human Factors Minute, a Patreon-only weekly podcast where the hosts break down unique, obscure, and interesting human factors topics in just 1 minute. Patreon rewards are always evolving, so stop by patreon.com/humanfactorscast to see what support level may be right for you. Thank you, and remember, it depends.
Yes, huge thank you, as always, to all of our patrons. We especially want to thank our Human Factors Cast All Access patron, Michelle Tripp. Patrons like you, keep the lights on. I am so excited for this part of the show because I had told Barry last week that he was going to read the dumb ad, but we're gonna tag team it. So I've tagged in here, Barry, your parts. Okay, you ready?
I'm so ready for this.
Okay. Hey there, podcast listeners. Do you ever feel like you're missing out on exclusive content and behind-the-scenes action? Well, fear not, because our Patreon has got you covered.
For just $1 a month, you can become a Human Factors practitioner and receive personalized thank you messages, access to our Patreon-only Discord channel, and the full audio versions of our weekly podcast, Human Factors Cast, complete with pre-shows and post-shows.
But wait, there's more. For those of you who want to go above and beyond, check out our Human Factors Engineer tier for just $5 a month. You'll receive all the benefits from our Human Factors Practitioner tier, plus access to the full library of Human Factors Minute, our weekly podcast featuring deep dives into human factors topics in just 1 minute.
Are you ready for even more exclusive perks? Our Human Factors Scientist tier is just $10 a month and includes all the benefits of our Engineer and Practitioner tiers, as well as a one-time heuristic professional review of a personal product with personalized feedback tailored to your needs and goals. Plus, you'll receive an exclusive Human Factors Cast-themed tote bag, so you can support the show anywhere you go.
But if you really want to be a VIP, check out Human Factors Cast All Access tier for $20 a month. You'll receive all the benefits of our Scientist, Engineer, and Practitioner tiers, plus a shout-out on our show every week, and premium access to all of our learning resources through Human Factors Cast Academy.
And for those of you who want the ultimate Human Factors Cast experience, become a Human Factors Cast VIP for $50 a month. You'll receive all the benefits of all access, Scientist, Engineer, and Practitioner tiers, plus the opportunity to choose any topic you'd like and host a Human Factors Cast roundtable, your own roundtable discussion, but with podcast show with Nick Roome and Barry Kirby.
But wait, there's more! If you're a company, organization, or consultant agency looking to reach thousands of human factors, psychology, and design professionals, become a show sponsor for $500 a month. You'll receive 60 seconds of valuable airtime on our show every week, a feature on our homepage, and a sponsor page with a permanent link, and so much more.
So what are you waiting for? Join our Patreon and become part of the exclusive Human Factors Cast community today. Includes Discord benefits, of course.
It came from...
What was that last little thing there? That was so weird. It's like, we don't write these. We just have fun with them. We have fun with them. Let's switch gears, get to It Came From. This is where we look all over the internet to bring you topics that the community, the Human Factors UX community, is talking about. If you find any of these answers useful, wherever you're at, give us a like to help other people find this content. First one up tonight is by Lauren550 on the UX Research subreddit. They are saying they're struggling to find UX research opportunities for beginners. They write, I'm graduating soon and have a hard time finding entry-level job openings in UX research. Even with my internship experience, most jobs require more years of experience. Advice for finding UX research opportunities as a beginner? Any tips or suggestions would be helpful. Barry, what do you got?
So I opened this out to the family tonight, and so we're going to get 4 for the price of 1. How cool is that? So Amanda says, just keep trying. Obviously, entry-level job positions are really, really hard to get in no matter what the field is, UX research or across the board. Build that portfolio and get volunteer work. You know, build your experience up from there. Holly says, try harder. Leo says, good luck. But from me, really, I think, as I said, UX in of itself is still a fairly new field in many ways. And UX research is a subset of that. So I think that is a fairly specific role you're trying to look for. And so if you're struggling, don't be afraid of looking slightly broader. So there is, look into design work, look into other things that are either analogous to or linked to, just to broaden your experiences a bit. And your first job might not be that golden UXR job, but you might want to find something that you can hop into with it. But fundamentally, there isn't necessarily that job out there with your name on it. There isn't they're not necessarily out there. So yeah, bit of flexibility. Nick, what do you think?
So this is actually the number one thing that my mentees struggle with is finding work. And this is a large problem. I could talk about the state of the job market right now as a whole and talk about why that is, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to focus on some actionable feedback. Do something that'll help you stand out. And I know the problem is necessarily with finding opportunities, but apply for those mid-tier roles, but do something that's going to make you stand out. I mean, don't limit yourself, but also be open to other things like internships, part-time gigs, or volunteering with labs like our own to get experience. And I know it sucks to not have that pay. Believe me, I know that sucks. But if you're thinking about it in terms of like having actual experience on your resume, that is one thing that you can look at. There's a lot of good paid internships out there, so it doesn't all have to suck. You just gotta suck it up and get through that at some point. So that's kind of where I'm at. I know it's not ideal, but this, like I said, you're not alone in this. This is something that a lot of people struggle with because of the market right now. So that's where we're at. Okay, this next one up here is by Klein Pretzel on the UX research subreddit. What's the fastest you've quit a job and why? I've started a new job a week ago, but I'm considering quitting already. There's several reasons why, including an unsafe environment for women on my team, a lack of diversity in the company, poor communication between UX research and product management, and inadequate processes. Asking for advice, what's the shortest time you've worked in a job before quitting? Do these reasons seem valid for quitting my new job? Barry.
I'm kind of intrigued as to the difference between the job advert they went for and interviewed for and the job, because that must have been a good sales job in that interview, to be presumably so different. Fundamentally, the first thing I'll hit is if you feel that you're in an unsafe environment, bail, get out of there. You have to look after number one. So if you really, there's unsafe environments and unsafe environments. If you truly feel it's an unsafe environment, get out. However, what I would say is, if this is a larger company, there must be routes to complain. There must be routes to highlight the issue and do something about it. It depends whether you want to stay around or you just, you've gone into something that is just not what you signed up for. Go. I've had people who've, in fact, sort of worked on my team, and they were looking to potentially, so they were recruited to take over from me, and they were effectively sold the job without me in the room. Weirdly, it was a slightly odd situation. But when they then started learning about the job from me, about what it is they were going to be doing, they're like, "Whoa, this isn't what I envisaged. This is what I thought it was going to be." And I was like, "So what were you told?" And then we had the good discussion around, well, no, this is what the job is, and they quit before I could hand over, because they were like, "This isn't what we were sold." So if and personally, the shortest time I've been in, it's not a job as such, but a contract, has been 6 months, and they wanted to extend it, and I said no because of a number of reasons. I wasn't content with where we were. So that's probably my shortest. But I think the reasons you've given are quite valid. But I think there's also a valuable life lesson there moving forward. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, so this is why I wrote this in all caps in the notes. This is why you look for red flags during the hiring process and why those questions are so important. Because, like Barry said, this is what is the difference between the person that interviewed you versus the people that you're working with now? and why is it the way it is? I think there's a few ways to approach this, right? So, without additional context, the question I have is, why is it an unsafe environment for women? Is this an individual that is causing issues? Is this a group based safety risk, or is this like a company culture wide safety risk? If it's the company culture wide safety risk, get out now, because that is and whistleblow, get out of there. Like, it's just not good. Take care of yourself. If it's a group based thing, there may be changes that HR can implement that would make it different for the future, but then that also becomes a really sticky situation, because then you're still working with those people, and short of a rehiring thing, then there's always going to be that weirdness, because anyway, so but then if it's the individual, there's obviously things that you can do by talking to HR and having them take care of that issue. Depending on how far down they come with the reprimands for that. In terms of process, now I have a couple thoughts on the process, because they mention here that there's sort of a poor communication between UX research and product, and inadequate processes. This could be a huge opportunity for you to restructure this and be the hero they need. Like, I'm just saying, this could be a great source of experience here. Not saying get out, but just to answer the question, about a year is what I've been looking at in terms of my shortest. And it wasn't for any of these reasons. I've been fortunate enough to not have any work environments that have felt unsafe for me or others that I've worked with. And that hasn't necessarily been, I don't know, I haven't experienced the same issues here. Okay, the last one here, Barry, up tonight is by Beans JC on the UX Research subreddit. They write, UX researcher to AI. Hey there, I'm a UX researcher and I'm curious about how I can transition to the AI field. What are some skills that would be important for me to learn in order to fit into an AI team? Thinking about quant analysis, machine learning, human-computer interaction, and coding, are there any other skills you'd recommend? Also, do you have any suggestions for courses or certifications I should look into? Thank you. Barry, what do you think?
I mean, the stuff that they highlight, if you want to get into AI, then, coding and all that sort of stuff, yeah, great. I think it's all going to be helpful. But I think with the way that AI is going, and ChatGPT is a really good example of this, so look at them wider general skills that you can learn to flex. So obviously we've talked in the past now about like prompt engineering, about how to engineer a prompt in the way to get you what you want out of it. Now, you can't go and get sort of a degree in that yet or anything like that, because it only came about 3-4 months ago, as a thing, and things are moving that fast. That if you've got, it's not so much hard skills in terms of like learning how to code and things like that, but being open and being flexible, being adaptable, picking up them skills about how to, recognize things that you should be writing down, things, and how you should archive them, how you should keep them, so you can sit there and go, right, well, actually, this prompt engineering thing, as the example, is becoming a thing, right? I should be saving all of my prompts in order to maybe, develop them offline and then put them in as an example. So yeah, just generally picking up those wider skills and being flexible and open to new and innovative ways of working, I think is really valuable in something like AI. It's not the only fruit at the moment, but there's lots of new things out there. But being open to doing new things is a much skill that is underrated. There we go. What about you?
Okay, great. I think look, here's the secret. You ready for the secret, Barry?
Oh, okay. Go on then. Let me just get my pen.
Okay,
Right.
get the pen. It doesn't matter what domain you work in. The thing that's going to be the most important is keeping those core UX, human factor skills, and applying them to the AI domain for best results. I want to elaborate on this a little bit because, as you mentioned, Barry, AI is really young right now. It's in terms of being pervasive. It's still in its infancy, and almost all the products that we interact with will have AI or autonomous systems built into it in the future. So, in a way, we will all become AI researchers at some point to figure out how the human will interact with those automated, artificially intelligent systems within that product. Now, the industry as a whole is going to need to evolve to stay on top of the latest developments. I think the best thing you can do right now is just staying on top of what's happening. Stay on top of what's going on, understand how those things impact end users, and that will give you an edge. So follow AI news sources, and like there's some really cool stuff going on right now, so pay attention. Okay, Barry, it's time for your favorite part of the show. It's one more thing, where we have just one more thing. Baby, I see baby in the notes. What is baby?
Baby is awards, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
We've got an exciting day coming up tomorrow with my team. We've gone into Cardiff because we've been down selected, shortlisted, whatever you want to call it, for Family Business of the Year in Wales. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to be an afternoon now. I get to take most of my team out with me, and we get to go to a bit of a glitzy afternoon bash. Couple of drinks maybe, and see if we win something. So that's going to be tomorrow's fun. So quite excited. What about you? What's your one more thing?
I just awkwardly realized that it almost sounded like I was calling you baby. So I just
That's fun. We're getting quite
hey,
close
baby.
now. It's fine.
What's up, baby? All right, let's. All right. So I actually have pictures to show with my one more thing, and this is left over from the pre-show, so ignore the spacesuit. But I recently did AI headshots because everyone's doing these. These are fun. I posted these. So if you're listening only, go look at them in our Discord. They're posted in the random channel, but I do want to just show a couple of these while we're streaming here because these are what I call the yikes, YAIKES, yikes. Like these ones are pretty bad. So I'm just going to get out of the way here. And I showed some of these during the pre-show, but the thing with this one is the teeth. That one's fun. And I guess the thing that surprised me the most about these was that some of them actually turned out pretty okay. And like I got a new LinkedIn profile picture out of it. So there's obviously some things that are going on behind the scenes that I was just impressed with some of the technology, but also like, how is this so variable in the product that is coming back? Because you get great shots and then you get shots like that first one I showed where it's just like the worst and look nothing like me. Or I guess there's like some resemblance, but like what's going on with these eyes and teeth? I don't know. There's just still some uncanniness to it that I think needs to be figured out before I don't know. It was cheap and fun. So if you want to figure it out and see the results that I had, go take a look in the Discord. Barry, I think you're going to do that, right?
Yeah. Oh, true. Right, I am.
You need to post your results too. All right.
Yes, I think we all need to. That sounds like quite good fun.
I think so. Well, you know what? It's that time, everyone. That's it for today, everyone. If you liked our show and enjoyed some of the discussion about designing for humans, just generally, I'll encourage you to go listen to and be reminded of the fact that we have 8 billion humans to design for now. That's episode 256. That's a good listen. Comment wherever you're listening with what you think of the story this week for more in-depth discussion. You can always join us on our Discord community. Visit our official website, sign up for our newsletter, stay up to date with all the latest Human Factors news. If you like what you hear, you want to support the show, there's a few ways that you can do that. One, this is free for you to do. Just go to your nearest review site, wherever you're listening, and just leave us a 5-star review. That really helps the show, and that's free for you to do. 2, tell your friends about us. That word of mouth is the number one reason we grow. And 3, if you have financial means to do so, just $1 gets you into the door and gets you access to things like our pre-show and post-show. You can come on in here, hop on, hijack the show, tell us about your thoughts. There's plenty of other Patreon benefits, as we mentioned in that ad. As always, links to all of our socials and our website are in the description of this episode. Mr. Barry Kirby, thank you for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go and find you if they want to talk about how to write a bad user story?
I'm all over bad user stories. So if you want to come and discuss that, find me on social media at Baz_K. If you want to come listen to some interviews with human factors professionals or people who are just generally really influential in the human factors world, then come and find me on 1202 The Human Factors Podcast at 1202podcast.com.
As for me, I've been your host, Nick Roome. You can find me on our Discord and across social media at Nick_Roome. Thanks again for tuning into Human Factors Cast. Until next time, it depends. All right.
Cool. That worked. I noticed quite a lot of people clicking the support the
Yeah,
show
I
thing
saw
over.
that.
It was at least I saw it 2 or 3 times. I was like, oh, check that out.
I saw
So-
that. Yeah. We're it tallies for us, so we're at 5. If you're unsure
cool.
what Barry's talking about, this little thing down here.
Yeah, over yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't
You
do
can't
it.
you can't get to it. You want me to move you over here so you can get to it?
Yeah, just over
All right.
there we go.
There you
Just,
go.
just this bit here.
That
Oh,
click click on that little thing there. That would make us really happy. What a great show.
It was interesting, wasn't it? Because we were talking in the pre-show about how this is so close to, it's a proper human factors-y thing again. That dug into it, but actually, I think maybe because we are so close, we got to the point really quickly.
Yeah, I know.
And so there was a bit of that, but actually, I think the evolving discussion around user stories is interesting because I think it is an evolving methodology, and maybe is it like a Pandora's box thing? Once you open it, you can't stop it evolving really as much as I would love to, and it might then evolve to something else that is more useful. Who knows?
Who knows? So I had like 3 one more things this week, and I only talked about one of them, which was the AI. I want to talk about the other ones.
Okay, fair enough.
Barry, your recommendation for Outlast?
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, I was like, oh man. Okay, well, Barry binged it. I'm not really a binger, and I know you'd like caveat that. We watched 4 episodes in one night, which for us, we usually watch like maybe 1 or 2 things, but like we pushed to get through it, and we got to the point where there was significant sabotage. I'm trying not to spoil what actually happened. There was significant sabotage among the camps, and that's where we left off. And I texted you. I was like, "Oh, we just got to this part," and you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But man, what a show! And the whole time, your words were ringing in my head, and I was like, "Oh man." Of course, I'm not going to spoil it either, but just I don't know if that helped or hurt my experience watching it.
Yeah.
I still had a phenomenal time watching it though. So
it just, the whole human psychology thing was just like, wow, just blunt and raw, I think is it was good. And the end result was interesting, I think, in seeing how that reflected the rest of the show.
I think so. Yeah. I just texted you
my
thoughts on that ending.
I agree.
Without spoiling. Yes, I agree. I think that does reflect the rest of the show. That is a good way to put it.
Well, because I was going to talk about something else as well, which was, I don't really get into gaming that much because, day job and all that sort of stuff. But there are times, if you start your computer, you just want a bit of relief or whatever. And I kind of got into playing Valorant quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem I found with Valorant, though they have done a bit of a change because you can do shorter games, is the games were so long that you were taking 45 minutes out of your day just to do that. And then you can play just one game. You want to try and pick a couple of games, and then and you've ruined time. So I'm in the thing about whether I delete the game first of all off my laptop because it's addictive, and I was dipping in. But I found I haven't played it now in a couple of weeks because I've got back into Minecraft. And I think Minecraft is a brilliant game, but it's something you can pick up and play for a couple of minutes, or you can play it for an hour or whatever, and just do stuff.
Days.
Well, yeah, you can lose entire weekends. I mean, but we used to play quite a lot of it with the kids when they were younger, and have our own realm and stuff. So I've re-instigated a realm, and so now I've been building stuff. So yeah, so I'm quite happily re-enjoying and rediscovering Minecraft. But the cool thing I found today, because they did an update, and you could download a free world of the ISS.
Ooh.
And so a completely made ISS where you can go in and fly around it and all that sort of stuff. You go in creative mode rather than survival because you need to be able to fly. But then they're also inviting you to go and build your own next module to go and do that. So to build your own lab and stuff. So I might have a play with that and see what happens.
That's cool. I'm actually really nervous for the day that my son gets into Minecraft because he watches YouTube videos right now of it. And he likes the characters, he likes the aesthetic, and we've just got him kind of off of video game. Like there was a stint where he'd play like a lot, and our philosophy around this is like, if we let him gorge on something, he's gonna get sick of it, and he did. Like we let him play as long as he wanted to, and now he's like, okay, I'm done with Mario Kart. I'm gonna play with my physical toys. Which is great. And we're engaging him in other ways. But so I haven't like actually put Minecraft on the device that he plays on yet because I am afraid. I am so afraid of what, like when he's able to master those controls, because they're kind of complex for him. I think he'll be able to get them in the next couple years here, but like, it's gonna be a adjustment, I think, because like I said, you can lose days. When Minecraft was new, I remember spending a lot of time a lot of time.
I just had an idea because Alex has just commented in the chat saying, Minecraft for the win. We could have a Human Factors Cast realm.
Ooh.
Who'd be? I mean, comment in the chat if you're up for that, but. Because I do have a realm, and I think I've got a spare slot in it that we could set up a Human Factors Cast realm. The downside is that everything we build would also have to be user friendly, and it would have to be, because otherwise we'd just go and diss each other's, stuff. So, okay, so Alex is in.
So I'd be down with this as an officially sanctioned Human Factors Cast realm. My only stipulation is that we have to build a massive logo. Our logo, the Human Factors Cast logo. We have to put that in there.
It would be the Windows version. But I think because the way that they're doing it now, you can get that it is cross-platform, I think, because they're doing away with the Java version, I believe. Anyway, I shall investigate and see where. In fact, I'm going to try and do something live now, which would.
Oh, do you want to stream? Do you want to put up your? I mean, we are streaming on a couple platforms. You can put up your game here and potentially.
I'm going to see if I've got a slot first, and if I have, then we can maybe make that happen. Right. Let's go to my realm.
Alex says they'll assist with the logo. That's great.
Cool.
That's great.
It's got the weird noises in the background.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You need to turn that down. Settings. Game settings. I thought I had different.
It would be cool to build like a. Yeah, to build some tools in that environment where we like. Alex is suggesting using redstone to.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Represent UI and design. I like that. We could. I'm thinking like a Fitz law calculator or something.
So I've got. See, I don't know whether that works. I think we might only be able to do one. So what I might have to do, I could just invite everybody to my the realm that I'm using. I've just got some random stuff all around it anyway. I wonder if I could create. I will investigate and see what my what happens. Because I mean, I've got no problem with inviting everybody into my realm, the realm I've got running at the moment, because there isn't that much done in it anyway. But I have got some random stuff around there, and we might want to just have a virgin new world to play with. That noise is getting irritating.
Yeah, let's kill that.
So, yes, I'll have a look and see, because I thought you could have more than one thing, but then you won't be able to go directly into it. So, I shall investigate. And maybe even investing in a second realm might not be a bad thing, because I get quite geeky like that. But we shall make it happen. We shall make something happen, because it'll be fun.
It's good.
Yeah, because I do quite like it, because I just like the fact that you can either do something really simple, you can just go messing around and maybe swimming around a bit, or if you want to get into building like sort of massive contraptions to do stuff.
For me, that was the fun, to build massive contraptions, redstone contraptions, to do like the farming, and build like a cake farm. You know, that was the thing back in the day, was the cake farm, where you do the chicken egg farming and the cows.
See, I never really did all that sort of stuff. I was more around, I wanted to develop like railways and stuff like that, and so I've just developed myself a little underground station.
God, hang on, I'm about to hold on. Okay, you want to see one of the most I was really proud of this thing.
Okay.
And this is on my own personal YouTube account. I can't believe I'm showing this right now, but I built this in Minecraft. It doesn't mean anything. I think it was a joke between me and my friends when we were playing at the time. But we had like called the world that we were in, we called it Sexy Land. Okay.
Right. We can see where this is going quickly.
Oh yeah, of course. And so of course I built a big old tower that said "Welcome to Sexy Land." Hold on, I have to obscure some information here. I think.
As well as half the screen.
Well, one, I don't want anyone to see my personal YouTube account, because we use the podcast or everything now, and that's like, anyway. I don't think there's any audio to this, but hang on, let me just, it's 14 seconds long. Let me just do a quick, yeah, this was very, this was a long time ago, and this was captured poorly because it was like a camera on like an old phone or something. Oh my god, autoplay is on too, and I can't. And my son is really into ELO right now.
What's that?
The band.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Got you. Yep.
Yeah. So I gotta make sure this is muted, so that way, you know, we don't get hit with copyright. So here it is.
That's subtle. Yeah, I like
yeah.
that.
Yep, it's massive, and it's I built this thing, and
yeah.
Yep, look at that.
All right, that's cool. I like the animation. That's good skills.
Yeah. So anyway, there's that. That's what I would bring to our Minecraft server.
So, okay, so we might have a slightly restricted membership. No, that'd be cooler. I like. So Alex has just been saying they built a tree house where everything was underneath, but all the farm was done above. I was getting pursued by all colors of sheep. That's cool. It's see, I like building like sort of castles and stuff. I guess I'm just like old school, but I'm very. Some of the redstone contraptions, just because I'm not that clever a person, so trying to understand how they all work, they took me a lot of time to get it right. But one of the things I was most proud of was having a building with a lava moat all the way around it. But then if you went and pressed the button, it brought up a brick drawbridge, so you could actually get out and walk across it. And then you press the button again, it would disappear. So it meant that nothing could come and attack you. I was very simplistic like that.
Yeah, I used to do the castles too, with the mine carts that would lead you from one half of the world all the way to the other half of the world where your other
Yep.
castle was, all underground, all one continuous, and you just pop up at random points and, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Now I'm reminiscing about Minecraft and, oof.
It's way ahead. I mean, like I said, the downside is it's a bit like when I used to play Risk as a teenager. You could lose entire weekends. So, but I quite like having the realm to. So, currently on the realm I've got at the moment is my friend and my son, and it's just basically the three of us who have it. And because it's such a it's a realm, we haven't really intruded on each other's stuff yet. So, which is quite neat.
Well, I'm sure glad that you're back into Minecraft, because now you got to tell me how it is. I haven't played in years. I think last time I played was 2017.
Yeah, I played in ages, so it has like I said, there's been a bit of evolution. Some of the stuff's really cool. Some of the stuff is that you used to do. I can't work out how you do it now. But again, it's just evolved.
That was my experience too. Is like, oh, this used to be like this, but I don't remember. I don't know how do you do this thing, and I couldn't tell you what they are right now.
But then they've also, I don't know whether they had it when you last played, but because you always had to work out how to, either go and look on references and stuff on how to build certain things, how to make certain things. Whereas now they've got the recipe book attached to the creating thing. So if you've got all of it, basically it will show you all the recipes there to which actually
I feel about that.
I thought it was a bit cheating to begin with, but actually it means that you can explore more things, because some things you just didn't even know were possible. So today I've been starting to make colored fireworks because I didn't know how to do them before, but you understand what they are now, so which is quite neat. But, yeah, so it is good fun. And we'll make it work. Even if, like I said, I'll if nothing else, I will share the link to my realm within the Discord. So
yeah, like we already got some chat in there too. Alex has posted some pictures of things that they've worked on in the past. That's a pretty cool. Is that the treehouse, or is that the? I can't tell what that is, but cool. It looks impressive. Yeah, go to our Discord, check it out.
See, now I might not share it, because clearly you guys are all at a way better level than I am. That's impressive. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's cool. But this one of the things I like. You've only really stopped by the by your own imagination, aren't you?
You are. Well, and the limitations of the game, but
yeah, don't. But yeah, the because I only found out, because you could only mine down to level 0, and then that was basically you'd hit ground bottom, and you now go into minus numbers.
Oh,
and
really?
So I'm just like, well, how does, because normally you'd reach effectively bedrock,
yeah,
further, and then little creatures would come out and have a go at you and stuff. Whereas they don't. You now go negative numbers. So I don't know where the bottom is. So,
huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking about like the 3 more things that we had this week, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I had one more that I was like playing around with. I got access to Bard this week. I know a lot of people got access to Bard.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the shiny, glossy feeling of AI is worn off a little bit for me. I just don't like. I don't know.
Was it just not doing it for you?
No. So I have a folder on my phone that's Bing, ChatGPT, and Bard. There are some things that I like about Bard. Okay. Tell me to do something with Bard, and I'll do it with Bard that you would do with ChatGPT. Okay, just tell me something.
Write an introductory paragraph that describes Human Factors Cast.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. Let's try. So write. Okay, we're just gonna leave it, because I could specify. Write an introductory paragraph that describes Human Factors Cast. Well, first off, Bard will get plus points if it knows who we are, because ChatGPT does kind of, but not really. Okay. You ready to see the output, or hear the output, I guess?
Yeah.
I'm a text-based AI, and that is outside my capabilities.
Why is it outside of its capabilities? We asked it to generate text. Okay. Let's go for something a bit simpler. Write a description of write a description of the good attributes of a podcast host.
Thinking. So I was mentioning there are good things that I like about Bard. The thing that I do like about Bard is that we'll provide you with multiple responses in one response. So it's there's a little option at the top that says view other drafts, and so there's it gives you 3 drafts to start with. Okay. So instead of needing to regenerate, you just get to pick the one that you like the best. I like that. I think that's good, right? So it actually came back with stuff for this. So there are many attributes that make a good podcast host. Here are a few of the most important ones. And each of these have additional details, but engaging conversationalist, knowledgeable and well-prepared, confident and charismatic, enthusiastic and energetic, respectful and professional, adaptable and flexible. I don't think we have any of those qualities. So
I don't know. Sometimes we're well prepared. No, we're not. No, you're right. No, we're completely
none of them. The second draft came back with something slightly different. In fact, it came back with twice the number of qualities with less description on them. Engaging conversationalist, authentic and real, knowledgeable about the topic, prepared, good listener, can keep the conversation flowing, good at asking questions, can handle difficult questions, can maintain a professional tone, can be funny and entertaining, can be informative and helpful, engaging and interesting. And the last draft, 6, engaging, knowledgeable, prepared, confident, friendly, and passionate. We definitely got confidence.
It's so how does it feel? Because I haven't signed up or played with it at all yet. How does it? I mean, you're constantly going to be comparing back to ChatGPT and the interface, because that is now the benchmark, isn't it? So where does it sit with that benchmark? Is it on the whole better, worse, different, rubbish?
Different and limited in some ways, but not others. So it is actually connected to the internet, I believe, which is a good thing. The responses, maybe I just haven't figured out how to prompt engineer this thing yet.
Maybe, but it took a while to make ChatGPT sing,
right?
Because everyone's exploring, so it's a new interface, and Google themselves won't know how to get out of it. I read a thing the other day which I didn't realize, and I don't know whether it's actually true, and I think it was today I read it, so not the other day. That both Microsoft and Google have bought into ChatGPT. I thought
maybe.
So it'll be that would be interesting to see from a Google perspective, to see whether they think the OpenAI version is better than their own in-house version. And well, regardless whether they own it already or they're part owners or whatever, it'll be interesting to see how they, almost one of their internal things, one of their internal metrics to see whether they think they're performing better or worse.
All right, Bard, you ain't bad. All right, describe Human Factors Cast. Human Factors Cast is a podcast that investigates the sciences of psychology, engineering, biomechanics, industrial design, physiology, anthropometry, and how it affects our interaction with technology. The hosts are Nick Roome, Blake Arnsdorf, and Barry Kirby. They have a variety of guests on the show, including researchers, designers, and engineers. The podcast is a great resource for anyone interested in learning more about how technology affects our lives. Here are some of the topics that Human Factors Cast has covered: psychology of human-computer interaction, design of user interfaces, ergonomics of workspaces, biomechanics of human-computer interaction, industrial design of products, the physiology of human-computer interaction, anthropometry of human-computer interaction. It leaves us with this. If you're interested in learning more about human factors, I highly recommend checking out Human Factors Cast. So it's opinionated and it likes us. So that's good.
Fair.
Now, here's the real test. Does it know what Human Factors Minute is?
Ooh. Mm.
Whoa. Hey now. Human Factors Minute is a podcast that provides short, informative episodes about human factors and user experience. Each episode is packed with valuable insights and advice on topics such as usability, ergonomics, and design for all. The podcast is hosted by a team of human factors experts and is designed to be both educational and entertaining. This is true because we have more than just us three hosts on there. We have guest hosts sometimes.
Yeah.
Podcast is available on all major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Also listen to Human Factors Podcast on the Human Factors Minute website. It also highly recommends this one, too. Let's see what draft 2... What the hell is this?
That sounds a good start.
No. Hallucinating.
Why?
Give me a minute. Nothing against David Woods, but it is definitely not hosted by David Woods. The third draft came back. It's a podcast. Podcast is designed to be informative and engaging. Sure, all that's right. The podcast is hosted by Dr. David Woods, professor of psychology and human factors at Ohio State University. Definitely not. Dr. Woods is a leading expert in the field of human factors and has published over 100 articles and books on the subject. He is also the co-founder of the Human Factors and Ergonomics Society. Okay. Human Factors Minute is available. Okay, this is so it's hallucinating.
Yeah, I can't actually find the dude. Yeah, I found him on LinkedIn. He exists.
So there's another one that doesn't mention a host. And if I asked it, who are the hosts? It gives us 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it has access to the factual information, which is good.
So if you do the same then for 1202, what does it say?
Oh, let's see here. Barry wants to know about 1202. How do I... So here's a pain point with Bard is I can't go back and edit the original. I have to reset the chat. So let me see here. Describe.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah.
1202. Should I just say 1202 podcast and see if it comes back with it?
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay. 1202 podcast. Podcast about human factors. Field of study that deals with the interaction between people and technology. Podcast is hosted by Barry Kirby, a chartered ergonomist and fellow of the Chartered Institute of Human Factors and Ergonomics. Podcast features interviews with experts in the field, as well as discussions current topics and trends in human factors. It's aimed at anyone who is interested in learning more about human factors, who is looking for advice on how to improve safety and usability of products and services. It's a valuable resource for human factors practitioners.
That's true.
It also highly recommend. It's pretty good about recommending things in our podcast network.
The whole thing, I mean, that the game changer bit for that is being connected live to the internet. The fact that you can effectively that's the it's going to become the Google it, isn't it?
When they figure out how to integrate it correctly, yeah.
So, but then how long is it before ChatGPT actually turn around and say, actually, we're confident enough in it to connect it? So I think they might be scared of doing that in the. Anyway, I have now joined the waitlist, so
okay,
we shall see what happens. So
I put in who is Barry Kirby podcast. I just wanted to see if I come back. I do not have enough information about that person to help with your request. Same thing with me, but I tried to specify. What if I said human factors? Who is Barry Kirby human factors? Not enough info. Now I'm curious what ChatGPT would say to that.
It wouldn't. Would it know?
Barry Kirby is a human factors specialist who has worked in the field of aviation and healthcare. Human factors is the study of how humans. Okay, so it gave me stuff. Human factors specialists like Kirby work to improve. So it tells me kind of just generally what you do. But it did know.
Is that ChatGPT, or is that?
That's ChatGPT. It did know. Yeah. Kirby has written and spoken extensively on the topics of human factors in aviation and healthcare, has served as a consultant on a number of organizations in both industries. Or is that hallucination? Have you done healthcare?
Not really. I've spoken a lot on healthcare now, and that's a stretch.
So it's hallucinating. I'm gonna do me. Let's see. I'm sorry, I don't have enough information. I figured. All right. Well, hey, I just realized we're over time. So I think we're going to go. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, weekend, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I'll take photos and send photos from tomorrow.
Yes, please do.
And we'll see how it goes.
And you're out next week, right? You're on holiday.
I'm out next week. I'm on holiday, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Good for you. I will try to find a replacement host for next week, co-host next week, and we'll see. Otherwise, we can throw out a recast or something.
Cool. Okay, then we'll have a good one, and we shall see you when I'm back.
All right.